Hi YouTube. As some of you may know, I do a lot of researching and writing for the blog that we do to support our work here on YouTube. And every once in a while, stories come along that really need to be told in a wider venue than the blog maybe allows. And this last week, one story came up that we really felt resonated with us and we wanted to share with all of you. And part of that was the story of two young men recently who committed suicide. The first is a young man by the name of Justin Aaberg. Justin was 15 and living in Anoka, Minnesota, and he had come out to his mom when he was 13. Now, 2 years later, at the age of 15, he committed suicide. And this was a surprise to his family because he had not given them any clue that he was unhappy. You know, he'd come out, he had a boyfriend, things really looked to be going his way, and his mom stated that she thought he was one of the happiest boys in the world. She thought if anybody had the perfect life, he did, and she didn't know how unhappy he was until he committed suicide and the note that he left her. Also, in talking to her friends, one of the really major things that came up, and one of the things I think is really important, was the bullying that he had gone through. That was a major element of that. Plus, losing his boyfriend, I guess he felt like there was no way out of the sadness that came with that. The second story that came up in the same week was the story of Billy Lucas. Billy was another young man who was living in Indiana and was undergoing tremendous bullying at his high school. And the administration in his high school didn't want anything to do with it. They completely closed their eyes and pretended like none of it existed. And they still deny it even now after this young man has killed himself. But evidently what happened was he'd been undergoing the harassment for quite a while. And one day it was a particularly intense incident of harassment in his class where kids were telling him he was gay and he should just die. And he blew up on everybody and he cussed him out and I guess took off. And later that evening, I guess he was putting the horses in on his parents' property. He had already made up his mind by then. He called 911, telling them that that his mom was going to need their help. And later he hung himself in his parents' barn. So, in going over these two stories, and forgive me a little bit, because it's hard sometimes when I write, because I can really think about what I want to say, and when I'm here, it's much harder for me to put that across. But in reading these two stories, it really made me think about survival, and what it's like to be a teen, because not only are you dealing with the fact that your body's changing, your hormones is changing, you know, you're growing up and you're gaining new responsibilities, and everything about you is becoming an adult. All around you, you see kids forming their first relationships, having a boyfriend, having sex, experiencing what love feels like. And here you are, starting to realize that there's something different about you. And maybe you're lucky enough to find a boyfriend. Maybe you're not. Maybe you think you're the only gay person in your entire high school. But that's an enormous pressure cooker. You have to deal with the fact that you want to experience love just like everybody else does, and you can't tell your friends, you can't tell your family, and if you do, your family might reject you, your friends might reject you, you're going to face bullying from school like these two kids did, you know, and for some kids it's just too much, and they don't make it, and I think it's one of the reasons why gay teens have a suicide rate that's 2 to 3 times higher than that of their heterosexual peers. And the reason why this matters so much for us is because Jay's had his own experience with suicide, where he couldn't deal with his own homosexuality. And rather than face it, he chose to jump off a bridge one really dark and stormy night. And one thing he's really clear about telling me is that he'd made his decision. He wanted to die on that day. There was nobody who was going to talk him out of it. And even this day, so many years later, when he tells a story and he talks about how he feels when he woke up the next day and he wasn't dead, he was angry. He was deeply angry that he had survived, you know. And today he knows that had he survived that day, he would not have a husband and a family, because he would have denied himself that possibility, and all of our lives would have been very much different. And it's one of the things that we try to tell the young people who email us every day. Which sort of brings me to my next point, actually. We get hundreds of emails, you know, every month from kids who are, you know, from 13 up to 18, sometimes a little bit beyond, who are in communities where they might just have admitted to themselves that they're gay. They realize that they can't tell their families. Some kids have said they can't even say the word gay in their house. They really feel alone, you know. All they want is to be able to not hate themselves. You know, they want the love of their families. They want to be able to talk about who they are with their friends. They've heard nothing but bad things about gay people in their life. And when they came to YouTube and they saw our videos, it changed the way they thought about things. And that's a big epiphany sometimes, that you don't have to be alone. You're not going to get AIDS. You know, you can have somebody that you love deeply. You can start a family. You can get married. You can do all the things you've ever wanted to do in your life. And being gay doesn't affect that at all. You know, you can still be the person who you are, the person who you want to be, and build whatever life that you want. Don't deny yourself the possibility of something wonderful happening to you later on down in life. Don't deny some other young man the chance to know you and love you. Don't maybe deny children the chance to have a great father because you couldn't see the light at the end of that tunnel. And I'm not blaming anybody or saying, I'm just saying your life can change in amazing ways that you will never be able to predict. But you'll never get to that point if you decide to leave the world. You know, I know sometimes the pain feels like it can be too much. You know, maybe you don't want to be gay and you can't face that in yourself. But I can tell you that there are wonderful things out there if you just give yourself another day, another week, if you talk to somebody, if you reach out, because you're not alone. You know, maybe you can't talk to people in your life. You can't admit to your friends at school. You can't admit to your family because you might not have them. But you can reach out to people. You know, YouTube is a great place to do that. And we've been lucky enough actually to talk to a lot of different people and made some really good friends from gay teens actually who've reached out and talked to us. One young man is Stefan, who's UK closet guy, who's started vlogging his experiences and his coming out. And we'll show you a little clip of him right now.
Okay, hi YouTube. This is UK Closet Guy, and pretty much I wanted to start this YouTube to help gays within the UK come out to their families, come out to their friends, and pretty much be a happier person. I just wanted to say a thank you to the YouTuber Depp Fox, who has inspired me to make this YouTube channel and to inspire other gay teenagers to come out. Don't feel that any other resort is worth it, because suicide is not worth it. You know, hiding away for years and years is not worth it. Don't cut off your friends, don't cut off your family. Just be who you are, be happy, love who you want to love, and don't feel that anyone else should tell you different. Bye for now YouTube. I'll make more vlogs in the weeks to come, and I hope you enjoyed my first one. Bye!
So stories like Stefan's are what inspire us. You know, we started this because of marriage equality and wanting to really help advance that by showing people that a gay family is just like every other family. But every once in a while you start to wonder, why are we still making videos? And when we hear stories like Stefan's and all the other people we get, because we get a lot, that's why we keep doing it, you know? And I think it's something that all of us as gay people, we come from so many different families, you know. There are communities who you live around everybody from your community is the same. But gay people, we draw from everybody else's community. And sometimes you can really feel alone. So I think it's important sometimes when you've come out, when you've found a degree of acceptance, and when you feel like you have something to give, to be able to give that back. And it's actually my encouragement that all of us as gay YouTubers and as anybody in your life, to reach out to somebody who's, you know, younger and who needs that contact and who needs somebody to kind of let them know that, you know, it's going to be okay someday. So that's my 2 cents. Thanks for listening. All right, YouTube.